Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share my TCS interview experience which was held last year at 11th October 2021 and 13th October 2021. The time was 9 a.m. So after 1 year I am going to upload my TCS interview experience because I know that lot of students who are going to attend the TCS Ninja and TCS NQT this year. So it will be helpful for them so that if I am sharing my TCS interview experience, so they can know new things or they can see and they can prepare for it that way. That's why I'm going to share my interview experience. So on 11th October, there are two interviews which are done, that is technical plus MR round, and there will be an HR round separately. There will be two interviews for TCS. So firstly, the TCS interview was held on 11th October, that is technical round and managerial round. So it was conducted on 11th October 2021. So firstly, they asked me to introduce myself. So I introduced myself and then they asked me about the projects. So at that time, I didn't done any projects. So I explained them about my mini project that I done in third year. And then they asked me about the OOPS concept with a real life example. That's a very important question. In every interview of TCS, you can see that the OOPS concept will be asked. So it's very important. You have to study the OOPS concept, that is encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. These all concepts you have to study. If they are asking if they're asking, you have to study their definitions as well as the real life examples you have to know. Then they asked me about, because since I mentioned C++ and Python in resume, that's why they are asking me C++, oops, Python. Okay, so what are you writing in resume, or what are you mentioning in resume, that they will ask. So then they asked me about difference between C and C++. So then they asked me about which library we are using for input and output in C. So we are writing hash include studio.h, hash include studio library.h, that these libraries we write. So that I told. Then they asked me about the features of Python language. Then they asked me the program, write the program for printing the largest number in an array. So you can use any language which you are comfortable. If you want to write in Python, you can write. If you want to write in C++, you can write. That's your call. So they asked me to write the to share my screen and then to write the program in Notepad. So I wrote. Then they asked me about constructor and destructor, pointers in C++, and then they asked me about my strength and weakness. So in the weakness, you must mention those weakness which will not affect the company in any way. That weakness you should say. Otherwise, there is a chance for rejecting you if you are telling any weakness that I'm lazy. Sometimes I will be the lazy, that like thing you must say. Otherwise, if you have no, I have sometimes I am very shy. That you don't say. So that's the case, that you must say the weakness that is not affecting the company at all. Then they asked me about my leadership skills, my leadership qualities. Then they asked me about to tell their about their company. You can refer it from their site or from the Google itself. We will get the information about TCS that you can go through and then you can say in an interview. Then they asked me about to ask any questions. So I asked about the TCS and the training itself. And then after that, the next day I got a selection in HR round. So HR was conducted uh, 13th October 2021. So it was a pretty simple interview. They don't ask too much things to me. So in that they asked about my day, that how was my day going on, and then they asked me to introduce myself. Then they tell me about the eligibility criteria after the selection, also after the interview also, that there must be only maximum there must be no backlog when we are joining TCS. That thing they told me, and asked about my percentage in my semesters as well as my CGPA they asked. Then they asked me why I want to join TCS. So I answered it in an another way. Then they asked me that I am ready to relocate. So if they are asking if you are ready to relocate or else, always say yes, don't say no. Otherwise there is a chance of rejection. Then they asked me about service agreement as well as 1 year service. They all told me about it. And then they asked me to ask any question. So similarly, I asked about the training as well as my thing I asked. So in this way, my interview was ended. And after the interview, after 20 to 25 days, I got selection in TCS. So in this way, my TCS interview was held. So that's about it. So thank you for watching.